but I am really excited to be here with you to start introducing you to what I'm going to call the language of DISC. So as Ashley said, you all are going to learn a little bit about yourself, kind of what makes you tick, and you're going to learn a little bit about others and what makes them tick. And the ultimate goal is that by understanding a little bit about your style and the style of others, you can formulate even more productive work relationships. So you can foster more cooperation and more productivity in your work environment. So today what we're going to be doing is going to help us kind of a little insurance policy to make sure that we don't end up as one of those statistics. So we're going to be talking about things that we could do to formulate even more productive relationships with the people around us and the benefits of doing just that. So to get started, I know you guys have been sitting for a while. In your packet, there's a handout. The cover page says the language of DISC. So I want you to find your handout, and then what I want you to do, I want you, when I'm done giving directions, to get up out of your seat, and I want you to go on a behavioral shopping spree. So on page 2, I've given you a list of behaviors. What I want you to do is to identify people in this room that you think demonstrate those behaviors, and I want you to get up and get people to either initial or surrender their name in front of the behavior. I'm going to give you only 5 minutes. The objective is to get as many signatures as you can. So the first thing I really want to do is I want to give you all a very simple tool to go through and assess your behavioral style. Now this is a really condensed tool that is really, the purpose is just to identify your most dominant or maybe two most dominant tendencies. So it's called the Personal Profile Preview. I have some helpers in the room that are distributing these to your table. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to do nothing until everybody has one and I can tell you what I want you to do with them. So we're going to pass those out, and as we're doing that, I want to describe to you what I want you to do. There are going to be 10 groupings of words. In each grouping, you're going to choose the word that's most like you, and you're going to score it with a 4. The word that's like you, you're going to score it with a 3. The word that's somewhat like you, you're going to score with a 2. And the word that's least like you, you're going to score with a 1. So in every grouping, you're going to have a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 1. And as you're doing this, you're going to write your score on the line to the left of the word, not on the oval. So say that with me. Write on the line to the left of the word. Write on the line to the left of the word. Write on the line to the left of the word. Because I promise you, somebody in here is going to write on the oval, and then you're not going to be able to interpret the tool. So write on the line to the left of the word. to do is to circle the letter associated with your highest score. So if you had a 35 score and that was your high, circle it. And then put a check mark beside your second highest score. Your highest score represents your most dominant behavioral style. And while others are still finishing up, you can take a look at the other inside cover, the DISC Dimensions of Behavior Map, and just get a little insight about your dominant tendency or tendencies. So you can take a quick read through that while others finish. Then we're going to talk a little bit about all four styles. So what I want you to do now, in your handout, not in the profile preview, but in the language of this handout, on pages 3 and 4, I've given you a little more information about each of the 4 styles. So what I'd like you to do is to take a couple of minutes and read a little bit more about each of the 4 styles. And I might suggest that you start with your most dominant tendency and then your secondary tendency, and then read about the other 2 tendencies as well. So I'm going to give you 3 or 4 minutes just to read through that information about style. And then I'm going to ask you to do a little processing of that information. So take a few minutes and read through pages 3 and 4 in your handout. When you finish reading pages 3 and 4, I want you to take a look at the questions on page 5, and I want you to individually reflect on those questions. If you're not quite done reading yet, please finish your reading on pages 3 and 4, but then take a couple of minutes and reflect on the questions on page 5. I'm going to allow you to do a little sharing from those questions, so I want everybody to answer them. So as you're finishing up on those reflection questions, the next thing I want you to do is to just pick a partner at your table, or if there's an odd number, we might have to have one trio. But what I want you to do is to share with your partner or in your trio the answers to those last 2 questions. What are some of your strengths and how can you apply them to your work? And what are some limitations that could get in the way of your effectiveness in your job? So pick a partner, or if you need to, work in a trio and share a little bit about question 3 and 4 with your partner or in your trio. I want to talk with you a little bit about the concept of adaptability. So if you take a look at page 6 in your handout, you're going to see what's going to be up on the screen for you. And I want to start just by talking a little bit about the concept of adaptability. So when I think of adaptability, I define it as the extent to which we sense the interpersonal comfort needs of others, and we adapt our own behavior to meet those needs. So I sense how linemen might want me to communicate or interact with them, and I adapt my behavior to create greater comfort for linemen. That's what adaptability is. So I want to talk with you just about some key points about adaptability. The first point is that we view ourselves as more adaptable than we are. So what I mean by that is we tend to give ourselves a little more credit than we're due. As we assess our adaptability, we ought to ask our coworkers or our customers or someone that knows us well that would be honest and give us feedback about our adaptability, because we tend to give ourselves a little more credit than due. The second point about adaptability is that it's situational. So what I mean by that is how I adapt to Carl in this environment might be different than if Carl and I went out and had a beer after work, right? I mean, you have to look at a toolkit of behaviors, and you have to decide what behavior. They're laughing about me and Carl having beers. I don't drink beer, but I could be adaptable, right? So you have to look at your toolkit. You have to say what behavior is going to create the best outcome. So it's situational. And the third point is that adaptability is both an attitude and a skill. Somewhere along your career path, I bet you've met somebody that has an aura about them that says, I am what I am, get over it. Do you know people like that? Yeah, no finger pointing in here, right? But those are people that are just unwilling to adapt. And so adaptability is both an attitude or a willingness and a skill. And we can learn to be more adaptable if we choose to. It's an easy thing to learn. So it could be as simple as just mirroring the person we're interacting with. If they're laid back, low-key, soft-spoken, generally warm, then be laid back, soft-spoken, warm. So just mirroring what you're seeing and hearing from them is a simple way to adapt. And the last point about adaptability is that being highly adaptable in all situations can be very stressful. So what I mean by that is if you never get to play in your own sandbox and play to your own strengths, and you're always forced to come outside of your comfort zone and adapt to others, it can be really, really stressful. So something I want you to take away is that there's value in all 4 of the behavioral styles. And I don't want you to think that we want you to change who you are, because you certainly bring strength to CCI. But what we want to ask you to do is to think about a willingness to adapt to others. When you're interacting with somebody that's different than you are, then come out of your sandbox and have a willingness to meet them in the middle, to flex a little bit. And then as you go back to your work, play to your own strengths. So in closing, I know those are always great words. People love hearing that, right? I want to share with you a quote from one of my favorite authors. David Starr Jordan says, "Wisdom is knowing what to do next. Virtue is doing it." Wisdom is knowing what to do next. Virtue is doing it. So I challenge you to be virtuous, to take what you learned about yourself and about others and about adaptability and to try to put it to work for you back in the workplace so you can build even more productive work relationships and help CCI meet what sounds like a whole lot of really aggressive goals. So thanks for letting me spend a quick 45 minutes with you. I hope you all have a great weekend, and Ashley, I'm giving this back to you.